Hey guys, it's me, Mia. Today I wanted to do a vlog about business. It is something that I really am passionate about, and I really want to have that incorporated into my channel. I really think that it's important for people my age and even older and younger to really consider going into business for themselves. Not only does it boost the economy, but it also gives you financial freedom. Where I come from, we've been so accustomed to the 9 to 5 lifestyle. We've been so accustomed to getting up, working your 40 hours, coming home, having 2 days off, and then you're right back into the rat race again. Me personally, I don't think that that's any way to live. I don't necessarily care for someone telling me when I can go on a break, when I can have my lunch and when I can eat, when I can take a vacation if I need to ease my mind or just take some time off. I'm just not really okay with that entire concept, and I definitely feel like for me, it's important for me to have that type of freedom to get up and go and do as I please and do as I want. And especially with me being a mother, being able to be in place for my daughter when she has her school functions, or being home when she gets off the bus, or just, all of those things are really important to me. So I do want to incorporate a section in my YouTube that specifically pertains to business, how to begin business, how to operate business, how to grow business. This video is just basically an overview of the gist of everything that I really want to talk about as it pertains to financial freedom and having your own business. So the very first thing that I want to talk about as it pertains to business is, where do you begin? How do you start? What is it that you want to do? That is the first question of the day. You have to decide what it is that you want to do. Wanting to do something doesn't necessarily mean like something that you have a passion for. It could be something that you are skilled in. For example, a lot of times people say, oh, if you're going to go into business, do something that you have a passion for. Well, what if you have a passion for taking pictures of birds? Is that something that you necessarily want to go into business with? How would you become successful from taking pictures of birds? Are you going to take a photography class? Are you going to try to get freelance work with the Smithsonian Channel or the Discovery Channel or a museum? Or these are things that you have to take into consideration. Just because you may have a passion for something does not mean that it's something that you're going to want to do in business or something that is going to make you successful. So that is something that you definitely want to consider when you're first beginning and first starting out. Is it something that you have a passion for, that you can see yourself actually doing as a business and growing and being successful as a business? A lot of times when we work 9 to 5s, we learn a skilled trade. Is it something that you can do on your own? For example, I'll use a cable company. Let's just say that you decide to work for a cable company and you learn a skill and you learn a trade, basically installing the fiber on the cable lines. That's something that you do as a 9 to 5. You do it continuously and repetitively, and it's something that you can basically learn, basically from the top of your head. You can do it in your sleep because you've been doing it for X amount of years. So say, okay, well, this is something that I personally know how to do. I'm skilled in, I can grow in, and I can be successful. You can take that skill and start your own business and begin to have contracts with other cable companies. Even the cable company that you once worked for, because let's face it, a lot of these companies, they subcontract. There may be, a storm that happens in the area, a natural disaster, and they need to install or reinstall all of these lines. They don't have the manpower within their company to be able to install these lines, so now they're going to start subcontracting. When you go into business for yourself and you subcontract, they're going to pay you way 5-10 times more than what they would pay an employee who's working a 9 to 5 for them. So you can say, okay, well, I'll install this amount of fiber in the cable lines and I'll charge $7,000 for a week. You're never going to make that kind of money being an employee working for them. They're going to charge you $15 an hour or $17 an hour or however much they charge the technicians an hour. And that's what they're going to pay them. That's the difference between taking a skill that you have and working under someone, or going into business for yourself with that same skill and being successful. These are things that I really want you to consider when you're very first starting out. Is it something that I have a passion for, that I can grow in and be successful in? Or is it something that I don't necessarily have a passion for, but I'm skilled in and I know I can grow in and be successful in? So that's step one. What do you want to do? Step two. Once you realize that you want to do this particular thing, or once you know what it is that you want to do, then the question is, how do I actually incorporate my business, or how do I go into business? Do I want to be a corporation? Do I want to be an LLC? Do I want to be a sole proprietor? Do I want to go in partnership with someone? These are basically business structures. How do you want to structure your business? Me personally, I have S Corp, and the difference between a C Corp and an S Corp is basically the tax and how the company is taxed. I personally prefer corporations because it's easier to build business credit, which is another video that I will get into eventually. But with corporations, it's much easier to build business credit under a corporation than it would be under an LLC. Also, for me, in the state that I incorporated in, the annual to renew your business is a lot cheaper. It's like $18 annually to renew a corporation in the state of North Carolina, as opposed to $200 to renew an LLC in the state of North Carolina. So you actually have to check with your Secretary of State. You have to do your due diligence and do your homework and see how much does it cost to incorporate, how much does it cost to have an LLC or a partnership, how much are the annual fees for this. Also, the difference between an S Corp and a C Corp is you can only have a certain amount of shares under an S Corp, as opposed to a C Corp, the shares are virtually unlimited. And also, C Corps are double taxed because you're taxed as an individual, and you're also taxed under your actual incorporation, which is why I'm an S Corp, because the tax structure and the tax setup is a filtered through type of system. I know I don't want to get too in depth with it because I have to do like a completely different video that can go into those tax structures and that can go into the breakdown of that. But just to start off, that's just a gist of kind of what the difference is between a S Corp and a C Corp. Also, a partnership. Do you want to go into business with someone? If that's the case, then you would be a partnership. You can also do a limited liability partnership as well, which is kind of like an LLC, but obviously with a partner. You have to trust the person that you're going into business with. Me personally, I have a corporation where I'm partnered with my husband in one of my businesses. We don't have a partnership, we have a corporation, and then we are basically listed as officers of this particular corporation. I personally do that for security reasons. You just got to be careful who you go into business with. If it's like a friend or a family member or someone you trust, or even a complete stranger who may have the same type of skill sets or knowledge that can grow your company, but you have to trust your partner. If you don't trust your partner, it can be detrimental for your business, for you, and for everyone down the road. So I personally don't do partnerships, but it doesn't mean that you can't, and it doesn't mean that it's not successful. You just have to understand what it is that you're getting into with someone else. Again, trust is a huge factor when you are having or going into a partnership with someone. A lot of times what your vision may be for the company may not be what their vision is for the company, or they may want to take the business in this direction as opposed to you wanting to take it in that direction, and that's where issues and conflict come up. So that's something that you really have to consider when you're going into partnership with anyone. Sole proprietorship, that is something that I don't recommend because you are liable for any and everything that happens to your business. If your business is successful, great. You only file taxes basically on yourself. You don't have to file taxes on the business. However, if your business goes under, if someone, decides they want to sue you or sue your business, like, you are basically held liable. Let's just say, I'll give an example. Let's say you're a hairdresser and you have a salon and you have it basically under a sole proprietorship, and let's say one of your workers does a perm on someone's hair and burns their scalp, and they decide they're going to sue your business. If you are found liable, or if your business is found liable, let's just say that they wanted to sue you for $500,000 and you're found liable. They can take your shop. Not only can they take your shop, they can take your car, they can take your home, they can have all of your assets in your personal bank account seized, as well as your business account. So I do not recommend any type of sole proprietorship at all, because they can take the underwear on your behind if they want to. Definitely not a good idea. So that's the second part, is deciding what type of business structure that you really actually want. Is it a corporation? Is it going to be a C Corp or an S Corp? Is it going to be an LLC, which means limited liability company, where you have limited liability? Is it going to be a partnership? Is it going to be a sole proprietorship? Decide what type of business structure you want. Step three is, once you decide what type of business structure you want and you go to the Secretary of State within your state, then you have to decide on a business name. What do I want my business to be called? The key for that is go to the Secretary of State website, look up the business name that you want, just to see if someone else already has that business name. For me personally, what I do, not only do I go to the Secretary of State to see if someone has that business name, but I also Google to see if there's someone else in another state or even another country that may have that same business name. Because if I want to take my business to another level, if I want my brand to be global and worldwide, I want to make sure that there's not another company under that name, and I want to make sure that my brand and my company is alone by itself, so that it can stand out separate and apart from anything else that's out there. Deciding what you want your business name to be and making sure that no one else has it. And once you do that, if you're not ready to actually incorporate at the time, or you're not ready to actually set up your business structure with the Secretary of State, you can do something which is basically like holding your business name, where you register your business name. So even though you're not technically going into the actual business set up, you're actually holding that name, so that when you are ready, no one else can take it. So let's just say after you registered the business name, someone else can try to register their business, or register that business name rather, and they won't be able to because you've already done it. They won't be able to incorporate that name because you've already basically held that name aside. Once you've basically decided what it is that you want to do, once you've decided what type of business structure you want, once you've registered your business, then the very next step for me and what I did is I went to the IRS, which you can do it literally online. It literally takes about 5 minutes, because you want to have an EIN, which is an employer identification number. So once you've registered your business, you go to the IRS, you put in basically your business name, all of the information that it's going to ask for. It's directly on the irs.gov, and literally once you've completed the form, you will get your EIN literally as soon as you press submit. That is something that is required, that you're going to need to pay your employees, number one. That's something that you're going to need to set up a bank account. That's something that you're going to need for many, many, many reasons, especially to be taxed. And that's something you definitely know you can't get away from. So an EIN is the next thing that you're going to set up. Once you have your business registered, once you have an EIN, my next step was to open up a bank account. And the reason why I chose that as my next step is because I want to, especially with me having a corporation, I want to make sure that any and everything that I do is separate and apart from my personal income, my personal finances. I don't want to have my personal credit cards or my personal bank account used for business reasons. The first 2 years of going into business, everyone knows, the IRS knows, everyone knows that you're going to obviously have to use some type of personal assets to grow your business, which is why the IRS allows you to claim and file a loss for the first couple of years, because it knows that you're going to have to use personal income in order to grow that business. Another good thing, or another thing that I suggest that you do, is find a mentor. Find someone who, even though they may not necessarily know the type of skill set that you have, they may know business well, or they may know the structure of business well, or they may, have good insights with, the city council, or, people who probably can help take your business to the next level. Finding a mentor is very important in the success of your business, because at the end of the day, no matter what you think, it takes a village, and you cannot do it by yourself. You're going to need someone, who's can take you to the next level, basically. Even if it's not something like hands-on, it's always good to have someone where you can message and say, hey, I'm trying to do this, do you know anything about that? Or do you know someone who may, be able to help me with this? Find someone who's willing. Sadly, I don't know why, but a lot of times when people are in business, they don't like to help pull the next person up. I call it the crab in a bucket syndrome. It's like, once you are out, why not help pull someone else out? I don't understand why a lot of people don't want to give you insight or don't want to give you information. Me personally, I want everybody to be successful. So if it's something that I know, or something that is, information is free. I mean, sometimes people charge, but for the most part, information is free. Don't be afraid to ask questions either. Ask someone, hey, can you help me with this? If they have their own thing going, they may not be able to physically help you, but they may be able to give you information or give you insight. Find someone who's willing to give you information. Find someone who's willing to help to take your business to another level. Last but not least, because I don't want this video to be too long, marketing. Marketing is going to be the backbone of any business. It doesn't matter if you're in construction, if you're in photography, if you are into selling goods and grow, whatever. Marketing is going to be so important. The power of the internet is more powerful than anything you can ever imagine. It's important to use free marketing strategies in the beginning. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, anything that you can possibly use. These are free marketing tools and platforms out there that can grow your business. You don't necessarily have to pay someone hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the beginning. Obviously, you're just starting out. Use the free tools that are out there, which is social media, to grow your business. So just to recap, because I don't want to get too in depth with everything, because this was just an overview. Number one, decide what it is that you want to do. Number two, decide what type of business structure you want to have. A corporation, C Corp, S Corp, LLC, partnership. Number three, make sure that you get an EIN, because you need to register with Uncle Sam. You cannot get away from it. Number four, make sure that you set up a bank account, because you're going to need it. You always need to separate your personal finances and your business finances. Number five, find a mentor, someone who is willing to give you insight and information and help you along your business journey. And number six, marketing. It is so important. You cannot get away from it. And if you want your business to be successful, people have to know that it exists. I'm going to do a couple of videos later down the road that's going to break all of those things down, but I just wanted to give an overview, because I figured, a lot of times people don't know where to start, or they may have something going on, or they may have a skill that they want to grow, but they just don't even know where to start. So start with those things first, and I will talk to you guys later. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye bye. I'll talk to you later.